Alright, most common question I get asked in the channel is, what app is that? What am I using for navigation? So I've got a whole bunch of iPhone apps that I've used over the years. I'm going to show you the ones that I like, all the pros and cons, and I'm also going to show you the ones that I really dislike. I've been using Google Maps to get me to this spot. Of course, once we hit the trail, it goes cold. It doesn't know what to do. Now, I specifically picked a spot further along, and you can see there it can't find a way. Right, but what we can do is flick it over to walking, and then we can follow it. Now that'll work as normal, but of course with Google Maps, using it this way means there's no waypoints. But our ETA is based on walking, so the ETA is useless as well. Jesus Christ, that was loud.
That's not nice.
Google Maps does what it does, but it's obviously just for on-road. Off-road, it's pretty useless. Alright, so we've got basically a couple of waypoints here marked out, which just directional, and then our final waypoint at the end. Now, you can see the arrow is basically pointing towards where the waypoint is. So generally when I'm setting a waypoint on a route, I'll set it to just after the turn. So effectively the arrow will point towards the direction we want to go. Now, this particular spot, the route is just there. It's not an obvious one anyway, so we're just passing on by it. We now want to go next waypoint. Now, I'm pretty sure from memory you can automate that as well. Next waypoint here. So then looking at the arrow, pretty simple. It's pointing that way instead of that way. So I know that this way is the way to go. So now we're going towards the end. I'm just going to flip it to the map view instead. And I can hit start if I want it to record the trip, which I should have done from the beginning, but anyway. This view is pretty basic, but it just means we can follow a route if we've got a route planned out. There we go, our final waypoint. Alright, so now if I want to head back again, I can essentially just create even a new waypoint here, and waypoint, navigate, and there we go. Once you work out that the main screen is run off what's on the map, then the rest of this map is pretty easy to use and nice and versatile. Back at the start again. Alright, next is speedometer. So works in a similar way to the other one, so you can have your speed up there, or you can go to the map view. We've got our map paved out. You can decide your options there, and then we've got our course distance there, direction, distance. So we've got ETA at the top there, so to the waypoint, to the finish. The only downside is it's so small you can barely read it. You kind of have to be stopped to be able to see that. It's the only thing I don't like. But let's see how this one goes. The advantage here is you get a nice big speedo. Well, because particularly once you've changed sprockets, you've got no idea what speed you're doing. So my friend decided to drop out here, but essentially speedometer is the same as GPS tracks, but just has a lot more information. Plus it also has
0.38 kilometers to one left.
Audio prompts, which is quite nice. There's a lot of information it can display that the other one doesn't, but essentially the same thing, just a lot nerdier.
Approached one left, turn 46 degrees right. New target is 2 right, in 0.43 kilometers. 0.36 kilometers to 2 right. Approached 2 right, veer right.
Nice clear arrows point us in the direction that we want to go. And the audio prompts include the waypoint name.
New target is 3 end, in 2.12 kilometers.
I just thought I'd point out this little feature here. As you move the map around, you've got this red arrow. So the red arrow, you can then copy coordinates, drop a new waypoint. So I could go new waypoint there, 0.4, change my target, next waypoint, 0.4. So it's pretty easy to change on the fly, which is something you really need. You know, block path, etc. You want to be able to work your way back. This one's definitely my favourite when it comes to point-to-point navigation. Okay, next. I'm going to see if TomTom has loaded my route that I added before. It's a couple of hours ago now, so it should be there. My routes. Nope, not there. It's a bit of an annoying thing about TomTom. I don't know why, but it just doesn't seem to load sometimes. Like, it hasn't updated. I actually deleted some of these and they're still there. So it's not just my new one not coming in, it's just not synchronizing. I'm going to load up Gaia Maps here. Now this will fail, unfortunately. As a planning app, brilliant. As a navigating app, it just doesn't work for me. So I'm going to select the route and then I'm going to go more, guide me, start recording. A little hard to read again because of the size, but every time I've tried to use this, it works for a little while and then it has some sort of memory issue because it eventually just crashes.
Continue for 600 meters. In 200 meters, you will arrive at your destination.
Alright, so
you have arrived at your destination.
Now it doesn't have directions, it's just basically saying, it doesn't have a course direction, so it doesn't, but you can see on the map which direction we need to go. So we're passing the first waypoint. Doesn't want to make it the next one. With the run, see?
Continue for 300 meters. In 200 meters, you will arrive at your destination. You have arrived at your destination.
In fact, you'll note that it's not changing. Nothing's moving. It's stuck. I guarantee when I stop just here, so here's our second waypoint. I guarantee.
Continue for 600 meters.
Yep. See that? Completely dead. That's what it does. Don't know why, but it's shit. I'd be curious to know what other people find with Gaia Maps, if they've had the same issues with it crashing, but I found it on multiple phones. Next is REVER. One of the pain in the ass parts of REVER is it doesn't even do a landscape mode. That annoys me. Planned rides. Ride it. There we go. Now, it's a nice display. It's a good UI. This is one thing I don't like. There's no ETA. Where's my ETA? Where am I going? When am I going to get there? You know, basic information. It's telling me how long. I don't need you to tell me that. I need you to tell me when I'm going to get there. Now, there's a couple of fundamental reasons why I don't use REVER. That's one. Stop turning my screen off. I'm pretty sure there's a button. There is a setting, isn't there, for that? Find that in a second. Well, okay, alright, I'll find it now then. Fine. Geez, you're a temperamental thing, aren't you? Show incredible roads. Water wank. Settings. Disable screen lock. There it is. Now, REVER's really got two functions. One is, recording your ride. So it does that. It does that pretty well. And then you can share it. And it kind of automates the process of what Motor Rides does at the moment. So here we go, we're passing a waypoint. There's nothing. It tells me nothing. Now, one of the other things I really dislike about REVER is that On a number of occasions I found my battery just draining randomly, and then when I look up the settings to see what's draining it, it's REVER, just draining the battery, trying to navigate when it doesn't need to. So, and it's not even when I'm recording. I'm not even recording anything. It just drains the battery. So for that reason, I tend to do this. Delete. REVER certainly has its place, but for me it just doesn't quite add up. The benefits don't outweigh the issues. Now, 2 more to go. Now I want to quickly show this one. Alright, now HEMA Maps, I also have a bit of a love-hate relationship with. It's okay, it's good, it's a good resource, but you can see even this road just doesn't, that's our second waypoint there, and goes nowhere, disappears. So I can't even sort of, it's quite interesting, because then there's other spots where you get these, and even on one of their versions of the map, it shows that route as an easy. So I don't know why. Yeah, there we go. See, there's an easy there. It's just that tiny little bit. But I just, again, same deal. I loaded a track at home. It still hasn't loaded. I don't know why. I know I'm sort of out in the middle of nowhere, but it's still. Alright, last but not least, open street map. And this one I personally think is the best, and I'll show you why. One is I can store all my routes in here, so I've got one there. It's got my track, it's got the track path, it's got all my waypoints, and then I can simply navigate and then hit start, and it's going to actually navigate on the route itself. So it's following the path, so therefore if it knows either A, the speed limit of the road, or B, an average speed that you can plug into it, then it'll give you an ETA. So it's giving me an ETA there, 5 minutes. Now the other big advantage there is I can set waypoints too, and I can actually add that as an intermediate destination. And now I've got the distance to the waypoint and distance to the end. And even this one I can say, let's add another one, last intermediate. So then we've got our full path laid out, and we get our distances and so on. And of course, my preferred option being in landscape, it's got a nice landscape view as well. So only downside is I wish these were a bit bigger, but can't whinge too much, can I? Because it's so simple, and you've got a nice simple map view, plus you've got the information for your ETAs and intermediate ETAs and full ETA. It's a great app for both on-road and off-road. Now the other big advantage of this app is it's based on the open source maps, which means the maps are updated by the public. Pros and cons of that, of course. So it tells me, you can see that we're approaching a waypoint, so it's giving me an alert, which is good. So rather than navigating from waypoint to waypoint, you're just following a track, of course. Let's zoom out a little bit. Alright, so we're approaching our waypoint here. I can see the track goes straight ahead, and my waypoint says left, so I'm all good now. Alright, approaching the second waypoint. I can even just sort of glance down, see my waypoint says right. So I don't have the big arrow, but I can see on the map which direction we're going, so I know that I'm going this way. So now that I've cleared my 2 waypoints, I've now got just the 1 ETA, which is that total distance. And there we have it, approaching our final destination. If you could only pick one app, I'd probably pick this one as the best bits of all the others. Alright, hope that helps. Now, as you can tell, my favourites are probably Speedometer, just because of its configurability, if that's a word, and the fact that I can decide exactly what information I want, and I can get a map view plus the course view and direction and so on. A couple of things I'd like to see, which is distance to the waypoint marker, not just the direction. But all in all, every map is going to have some sort of compromise. However, OSMAnd is the one that I actually use the most. It's the one I probably rely on the most, and it does a pretty good job of pretty much everything. So it kind of combines all the best bits of all the other apps. So if you're looking for one to pick, I'd probably pick that one. If you prefer a map view, if you prefer a waypoint point-to-point style, then I'd probably go with Speedometer or GPS Tracks. That's my advice. But at the end of the day, it's whatever app you like and whatever app you find the easiest. It's all about the app that suits you. Alright, hope that helps. Give us a like, subscribe, all that nonsense. And stay safe, have fun. We'll see you next time.